Okay, I must be going fucking crazy here, because there is never, and I mean never, this much activity on this map ever. And every single one of these says private owner, and they're hardly moving.
Yep, FEMA's getting ready.
I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure every single one of these little ones is a drone. And they are hovering the entire U.S., mainly in areas that are very constitutionally friendly. Look at Texas. This is Houston. I'm not losing my mind, because this is specific. You see that? I'm sorry, my phone is not focusing. But you see that? That says private owner, but it's not. Those are jets. Because we have this one as well. Look at that. We have all of these. All of these, guys. Every one of these is military. There is something that's going to happen, and it's going to happen quickly. People, look at this. It's not even a joke anymore, guys. This is the entire U.S. covered. The entire United States is covered in military aircrafts. What are they getting ready for?
Well,
People
we know here at Great Millstone,
because this is no joke. There's so much activity throughout the entire continental U.S. right now. Look at this. This is just random. All these little planes. All these little random planes, guys.
Fire starter, doesn't it? And they ain't putting out fires. They're letting them burn. They're just watching it. They're not fighting fires. They don't do that anymore. They only do that when not fight the fire, but to rather guide the fire.
Hey, go to E67.
Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors, the Elzen Apostles, a great millstone, who are teaching this truth and sincerity. And a shout out to Yakians out there on the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash, Barakatah. So, in case you can't tell, Most High is sending out his judgments as you see all the damage being caused by both Hurricane Ida and Lake Tahoe being destroyed. So the Most High is sending his judgment. So he's allowing the sword to come after the wicked, you know. And as Apostle Ramlov had done a great lesson, I'll try to get that up here on BitChute, you know, because I don't dare try to forward any brother's videos hardly anymore on YouTube, because don't want their videos getting taken down. So I'll just pay it forward on BitChute, you know. Some of them, you know, but Apostle Gabar was just, or Apostle Ramlov was just getting into it, you know. They are tightening the grip on everything, so our apostles are warning us. And before I had a chance to watch it, they took it off there. But there was an urgent warning from Elder Brother Malcolm. I'm not sure what the warning is, but I'm pretty sure it's along the lines of, you better get ready, because, again, this whole thing about the forced mandates, you know, if you take that, you've already taken your first steps, you know, towards the mark of the beast, because you worship the image of the beast. And those that are receiving the injections now are going to receive the mark of his name, one and the same. While others, the magnet might not stick to them, and they may not be able to pick up any radio frequency codes, because again, they've been getting too much exposure, so they may not be putting them in everyone. But the fact is that it's there, and it is in fact setting up the infrastructure, because this is all an intro towards the mark of his name, getting everybody to receive the mark of his name under the guise of a global virus. So anyhow, just going to take a look more at some more footage here, and you know, using the screencast to do this. So hope all this is edifying. I'm going to switch around now to some more news reports.
Aerial footage shows the intense conditions firefighters are up against. You can see it's just a wall of smoke and those flames too. And officials are giving an update as the fire bears down on South Lake Tahoe. ABC 7 News reporter Laura Anthony is live in the newsroom with that part of the story. Laura.
Hi, Alma. Well, firefighters were making good progress yesterday. Containment at the Calder fire was nearly 20%, but then the weather changed. The fire took off, and now a community that so many of us here in the Bay Area love and visit often is being evacuated in a big hurry.
Caldor is a real tough one for us.
Too tough and too close to heavily populated South Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, we bet.
The Caldor fire continues its devastating march, consuming more than 20,000 additional acres in just the past 24 hours.
You will own nothing and you'll be just as happy.
In Deep Canyon Gorge of the Highway 50 corridor between South Lake Tahoe and Sacramento. And very difficult terrain, as well as conditions.
The fire's dangerous spread prompted first a warning, but then an emergency evacuation order for South Lake Tahoe and surrounding communities.
There's been a tremendous amount of work over the weekend with all of the different local, state, and federal partners working in the South Lake Tahoe area, going out and knocking on doors, making sure that all those folks...
And that you have your inoculation,
extends
too.
through portions of 3 counties: El Dorado, Alpine, and Amador. With the westbound direction closed, evacuees are being told to head along Highway 50 east toward Nevada. The evacuation includes Barton Memorial Hospital in South Lake Tahoe and comes just as the red flag warning is going into effect for the northern Sierra. As big as it is, with at least 177,000 acres burned, the Caldor fire is still smaller than the state's other large inferno, the Dixie Fire, which has consumed more than 770,000 acres, the second largest fire in California history.
We haven't had fires burn from one side of the Sierras to the other. We did with the Dixie, now we have with the Caldor.
All done on
Two times in our history, and they're both happening this month.
Thank you for filling the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Even though you're just trying to do Agenda 2030, it's all the will of the Most High.
Now, Drew talked about the wind. Stephanie talked about the head of the fire. Another big concern going into the next 24 hours is whether embers will spark more spot fires miles ahead of the main event. With the Calder fire now just about 5 miles or even less from South Lake Tahoe, CAL FIRE says they're not making any predictions. Anything in the vicinity is at risk. In the newsroom, Laura Anthony, ABC 7 News.
And that's not all that's going on. Dixie Fire prompts new evacuation orders, warnings, and Lassen County road closures issued for Lassen and Shasta. An evacuation order has been issued for Lassen County due to the Dixie Fire. As of Monday evening, a new evacuation order and evacuation warning has been issued for Lassen County as the Dixie Fire continues to burn north of Highway 44 from Forest Route 33 north east to County Road 821 north to Crater Lake Campground. So, you know, this one they're not putting out either, you know, pretty much. Anyhow, there's more on this. Caldor Fire racing towards Lake Tahoe. I'm afraid it's going to burn down the jewel of California. Yeah, because the Most High ain't playing fucking games with you goddamn wicked anymore, man. Especially you 2/3, man. He ain't fucking playing with your ass.
In a desperate fight to stop the Caldor fire as it races toward heavily populated areas around Lake Tahoe. The fire has already burned more than 300 square miles and destroyed hundreds of homes. Around 50,000 people are now under evacuation orders, and the flames are now just 3 miles from the resort city of South Lake Tahoe, which has not seen danger like this in decades. Carter Evans is in nearby Myers and near the flames himself. Carter, good morning.
Well, good morning. We are at the front of the fire right now, and as you can see, there is a lot of fuel to burn now. We have seen some extreme fire behavior this week, flames reaching above the treetops. But the winds are calm right now. That's the good news. The bad news, that red flag warning is in effect throughout today. This is what firefighters are facing. Choking smoke, massive flames, and relentless winds, within the Caldor fire closer to tens of thousands of homes around Lake Tahoe. Crews spent hours Tuesday dousing spot fires.
You thought you'd escape the big cities and go somewhere where they're not forcing mandates.
They're facing gusts of more than 35 miles an hour. As the fire continues to move further into the Tahoe Basin, military aircraft at 18,000 feet above are sending back infrared images like these to guide firefighters to hotspots hidden by the thick smoke.
Very, very sensitive sensors can pick up any signature of heat. We'll plot it. We'll get that down to the firefighter on the ground. They can go attack it.
You can see the fire just taking off in this brush. In fact, little fire whirls right there, but firefighters are letting it burn while the wind is constant.
Yep, let it burn.
The fuel between here and the homes just about 100 yards away.
Let it burn.
Machines were running full force.
Burn, make it burn. They don't fight. Remember, they don't fight fires anymore.
Fast-moving flames.
They just guide them. They're guiding the fire.
Fires in more than 80 years.
This one's really scary. I'm afraid it's going to burn down Jewel of California.
Even the wildlife, including these bears, were forced to seek refuge from the flames. And as the erratic wildfire closes in on this now deserted resort paradise, fire crews are ready for battle.
The same winds are coming through. These areas are ridden with strong, heavy fuels
that can easily ignite, spread this fire quickly. There is a bulldozer line cut just a few feet in this direction, and right behind that is an entire neighborhood that firefighters are trying to protect, trying to keep the fire from going over that line. There are 4,000 firefighters on this fire right now, backed up by 1,000 members of the California National Guard. Vlad?
All right, Carter, thank you very much.
So yeah, you see it. They're just guiding it on where they want it. And this from the Daily Mail. If you're Unvannessed, don't travel over Labor Day weekend. The CDC says. Well, the CDC says to stick something in my arm. But do I listen to them? Fuck no! CDC asks 80 million Unvannessed Babylonians to stay home this weekend as the Chinese virus rises to 160,000 a day. Horse shit! You know, they want you to eat more horse shit. And of course, like everything else though, since we're talking about horse shit, and just, hey, this is what's going on with the New World Order, because that's what this is, you know. Video, police dog mauls anti-lockdown protesters. So, see if I can get that to play. Your government. Proud to protect. Yep. Proud to protect the New World Order, the Rothschilds. This is what you get when you refuse to wear a mask. When you detest what they do. Yep, and it's only going to get worse. We're done asking for permission. Angry Mama Bear tells school board cubs will refuse to wear retard masks, because that's what they are. An angry mom fed up with the back and forth over mask mandates decimated members of her child's local school board, saying she'll have her children defy any mask mandates. So here's what Mama has to say.
My name is Carrie Boller. You see my shirt, it says Mama, and I'm a Mama Bear. And I know there's a lot of mamas bears here tonight. And no one's going to mess with our cubs. Just so you know. I'm a resident of Encinitas, born and raised San Diegan, and tonight I'm simply here to tell you to unmask our children. We're done begging. In fact, we're... And I know somebody personally that is for the unmasking of children. There's a lot of mothers that are out there that are for this movement. It's a growing movement, even here in Reading. I'm asking you, public servants, for permission. We are done. You can all wear your masks. In fact, you can wear 2 masks and 3 masks. You can wear gloves. You can have plexiglass. You can do whatever you need to do to keep you safe. But we, the parents, believe we have a choice for our children. And I don't know who you think you are, that you think that you have more of a say than us, the parents, and our doctors. I don't know who any of you think you are. I really don't. It ends today. We are declaring our freedom tonight. We do not consent to the lies, fear-mongering, and abuse. You all know it's abuse. This is tyrannical leadership, poor leadership. None of you are willing to stand up for our children. This is why we are all here tonight, because we're fed up. We're done asking permission. We're done playing games. The pandemic is over. We are done. Andre. We're done. That's right. See the chairs that you're sitting in? We own those chairs. See these lights? We pay for the lights, not you. And I'm going to let you know. Emily, you're up in 2022. Greg, you're up in 2022. Marla, you're up in 2022. And Jody, you're up in 2024. I know that myself, I would love to run for school. Me too. I know many others. We're not going to replace all of you. So I'm going to promise you tonight that I will campaign against you. I will fundraise against you. And I will make sure that none of you ever serve in a public space ever again. That's right. The time is
So what do you think is going to happen to recall Newsom? Do you think he's pissed off enough people? Alright, here's more. Michigan County threatens to arrest parents if children test positive for the Chinese virus. And you know they're false positives anyways, so that's what's happening. County Health Department in Michigan is threatening to throw parents in jail if their child was believed to have been exposed to the Chinese virus. So, that's what's going on here. 1984. Now, of course, on to the other part of this. As you know, we got Hurricane Ida, you know. Hey, man, judgment's going out. The Most High is visiting this place. Hundreds rescued in Louisiana, where more than 1 million are out of power, 2 dead, man attacked by alligator and flood waters. You know, so of course, like everything else, though, this is going to keep on developing as it gets bigger and bigger. And I got lots of video footage here, so we're just going to try to get through some of this. Water, you got fire. Was it Earth, Wind, and Fire? Yeah. Let's groove tonight.
Again, much of New Orleans still does not have power. A lot of folks are relying on generators, although the gas needed to run those generators is getting tougher to find. We did see long lines at gas stations. I mean, check this out. Folks here not even driving cars, just walking up with the cans to get whatever they can. Again, to run those generators. Stations are running out of supplies, and the supply trucks are having a tough time getting back in.
Roughly footage. That's what's happening. Gas shortages sweep Louisiana as hundreds of thousands remain without power. All done on purpose. And like everything else, though, this is even more footage, right? This is the news report.
For the most part, we're not seeing the buildings that fell down during Katrina. We're not seeing the stuff that you see in other places where, you know, the devastation on the coast. Obviously, places like Grand Isle and Houma are massive, but for the city itself, it held up relatively well from what I can see. Biggest issue right now is that there's no water and no power.
Yep, exactly.
That's the whole thing right
upstairs filled with gumbo, ready to cook, just ready to heat up.
We're lucky we've got gas. So today what's happening is we're literally taking food from all these different restaurants, over a dozen so far, and they keep calling and saying what we need. And so we're going to be distributing food throughout the city. That's kind of what you guys walked into.
Everything today, everything you see in this shop is going to move. We're going to load it up in temperature-safe cameras, put it in trucks, and drive it around the city, house to house, block by block.
Can I get one more?
I think when we're talking about especially vulnerable people, we as Culture Aid have been serving about 3,000 people a week for the last year and a half. And we do that in the neighborhoods, getting to know our friends and neighbors, serving them with dignity, grace, hospitality, all the things we believe in. So we've built some really strong connections with community partners, community leaders, and now we're able to reach out to them and ask, what do you need? Which I think is something that's often missing in disaster response, is that ask, that trust.
We're headed to New Orleans East to a woman named Christy who works with a large group of undocumented Northerners.
Some of those community members that came with us, if they would have stayed home, they would have died. Their house is completely destroyed. The ceiling came in. They have small children. So we were there that first night, and we saw the storm pass. It was horrible. People scared. Sometimes this is a lot of folks' first hurricane that they ever have gone through, because a lot of our recently folks that arrived from Honduras in our community, and so they didn't know where to go, resources to go, money to go. And so that wasn't a city assist evacuated. That wasn't a mandated evacuation like we had for Katrina. So the circumstances was very different than what we have right now. And so I knew that even if I wanted to leave, I couldn't leave, because I knew these folks and these children was going to stay behind. Nosotros no pensábamos de que eso iba a suceder, porque yo nunca he pasado eso aquí. Entonces, tengo 32 años de vivir aquí en este país, pero aquí en Nueva Orleans no solo tengo 4 meses de estar aquí. Entonces, cuando empezó eso, yo me sentía mal, porque tenía mi familia, tenía mi mamá. Quedamos en casa, entonces Miss Christie fue a rescatar a nosotros para que nosotros podamos estar aquí con ella. Entonces, gracias a...
So, pretty much, though, that's what's happening, though. Yeah. There is a such thing as what they call that Southern hospitality, and that's usually among our people. Louisiana governor tells Hurricane Ida evacuees it's too soon to return. Yeah, so, they're not going to tell you to stay home and save lives, right? But nonetheless, though, the Louisiana douche governor, John Edwards, had told those who fled their homes amid the aftermath of Hurricane Ida to not come home. So don't bother coming back now, you hear? Yeah. So there's even more. I mean, there's just tons of this stuff between the storm chasers and just, roughly, lots of stuff. And then the other flip side, of course, you have Tahoe being burned on purpose. This is going to call on a lot of people to be dependent on the government, which is what they wanted anyways. Yep. Here comes your FEMA. You didn't want to go to Camp FEMA? Well, Camp FEMA will come for you.
From Hurricane Ida, this structure looks like it's slid straight down the middle. Now the whole entire side of the building is just out in this parking lot area.
And it's just going to keep getting worse. And, of course, you also got tornadoes going on. Maryland weather, tornado confirmed via radar in Annapolis area. So, we'll go ahead and try to do that. happens before a tornado. Alright, that wasn't really a tornado footage, but nonetheless though, either way though, you know you're going to have a lot more tornadoes as well. After Ida, small recovery signs amid daunting destruction. So, got some photos here. This one looks like it's a whole video.
There's nothing open and all the way through Baton Rouge, and we were lucky to find this, so we just jumped off the exit, and here we are. We're in line. I'm next. That's good. My buddy's getting his gas over there, and then we'll be on our way. No one has electricity in New Orleans, Metairie, outlying areas. A lot of trees down.
Trees down everywhere. Roofs off houses, off gas stations. Completely horrible. Power lines down on the road. Yep. Like,
yeah, they seem really happy.
For even like our local law enforcement to even like deal with. We're hoping that as the further we got away from our settlement, like that it would be finding gas, and it's actually been worse.
And then, of course, like everything else, though, take a pause here and be right back. And this from another brother. This is from Unvannessed, South Carolina, and this is on the same subject of Hurricane Ida.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakha Kudash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. Pretty much is an article, you know, I'm sure brothers have heard about the hurricane that hit, or Hurricane Ida that hit Louisiana, you know, in certain parts around that area. And this is an article from RT News, which it says here that the power outages in Louisiana to last a month. Okay, a month. All right, roughly 30 days after Hurricane Ida. Okay, so that means that they're in darkness, and not just lights, but electricity. Okay, because a lot of their energy transmission towers, all right, a lot of these wires and these lines, they all got, you know, collapsed. They got destroyed. So it's going to take a while to repair that. And we all know what happens when, you know, there's power outages, or there's some chaotic event that takes place. You know, eventually desperation sets in, because people are bred to be comfortable and to only know how to live in a comfortable society. And so they don't actually know, a lot of them are going to be out of their element, you know, when they're put in situations that they're not used to, mentally or physically. You know, and of course we pray for the you know, for the elect, all right, for the sincere brothers and sisters and their loved ones that are, all right, in these parts that were hit. You know, Yahweh Shemel shall protect you all. Okay, but pretty much for everybody else, you know, it's not going to look good. Now they said they've sent out the National Guard, you know, amongst some sheriff units to prevent looting, because they know that's what happens. I mean, think about it, right? Your fridge is not on, so all your products are going to get, the ones that need to be refrigerated are going to eventually go bad quickly. And as, you know, food gets scarce, what's going to happen? You have a big ass supermarket that's just there. Of course people are going to be tempted to loot, you know, and of course things are going to get violent. Now I'm not saying that's going to be the particular case in this specific situation, but it's a general possibility. Okay, it says here, battered by Hurricane Ida, parts of Louisiana will be without power for up to a month in the wake of the storm. The hurricane plunged New Orleans into darkness and toppled transmission towers across the state. And we know, man, especially when nighttime comes, I mean, what problem would people have, you know, breaking into other houses or stores? It's nighttime, okay? And it's only gonna get worse. You know, this is one thing, all right, from a hurricane. The Lord and hurricanes have happened before, but we know as we're coming into these times that these are going to be unprecedented times. Things that the world has never seen before is what's going to be happening. And the thing is, a lot of people, you know, they just live as though the world is just going to keep going as it is. A lot of people don't have any thoughts in their minds. They're in a false sense of security, as if just life is just going to keep on carrying on. They don't understand that something is getting ready to go down. As we approach September, all right, which is going to, you know, I mean, it's looking to be an interesting month. All right, you got the 11th of September, which is 9/11. You can look out to see what happens. All right, you got the 13th, which is when they're supposed to start enforcing these mandates, as well as the 27th. All right, which they're saying, you know, a lot of these different jobs and healthcare workers, they don't got the Vanessa that they can't stay. You know, so September is looking to be a pretty interesting month, and we'll watch how it goes. Now, I'm interested to see what the world will look like in October, but that's how fast things are happening now. That in a matter of months, things can change so much. All right, that you can't even you know, so-called plan months ahead, because you don't know what could happen the next week. So it says here, I'm going to skim through this article. It says the city's protective levees upgraded following the catastrophic losses suffered during Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Did their job and saved New Orleans from more severe flooding, but the entire city was left without power due to catastrophic transmission damage. Per the City of New Orleans Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, and shows you just how fragile and delicate this electrical infrastructure grid is here in America. It just takes something light, you know, and depending on whether it's engineered or not, they can just, you know, pull the plug and say, oh man, this is some real heavy damage. You know, it might take 2 months, you know, or we don't know how long it'll take to get things working again. And you know that from your phone signal to your electricity to all of these things, these are all based on grids, electricity, you know, towers, radio towers, electrical towers, all of these things. So if the source of your connection gets severed, you're not calling anybody because there's no signal. Okay? When your phone battery dies, you can't charge it unless you have a portable charger. But how do you charge that? Or in the case of an EMP attack, you're through. And a lot of these people, they don't think like this. They don't have this kind of mindset. So because they don't think like this, they don't prepare their minds for a situation like this. So when these calamities come upon them, a lot of them are not going to know what to do. And not knowing what's going on and not knowing what to do in a time when you don't know what's going on is one of the scariest things for people. They fear the unknown. And because of that, they can't think rationally and they start panicking and bugging out. Okay? Let's see what it says here. With wide-ranging damage still to be surveyed before repairs begin, residents of New Orleans and other Louisiana towns and cities will be relying on generators for some time to come. And you better hope nothing happens to them generators. Even New Orleans' sewage board is counting on generators to deliver clean drinking water to the city and clear the street of storm water. Now, with all this, everybody relying on these generators, that's a lot of strain. Okay, that's a lot of strain on these generators. Okay, it says Governor John Bell Edwards has said that hospitals will have power restored first, as the generators currently providing their electricity will eventually fail otherwise. Okay, so you can only rely on generators for so long. But as we keep saying, these aren't things that just happen, especially now. These aren't things that are just happening and, oh, well, let's deal with this, and then we just go back to normal life, and if anything else happens, we deal with that. No, this is just like warm-ups, if you can even call it that. Because Yahushua referred to these times as the beginning of sorrows, meaning we're about to enter into the real sorrows. And the real sorrows are going to make you wish you could go back to the beginning of sorrows. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 5. Thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Lord. Because what happens when you trust in man, that's where you rely on. Okay? And a lot of these people have been groomed and bred to where they trust in man. The first thing they do is they forget prayer. All right, 911, look for Esau, call the power company. All these, that's the first thing in their minds, the solution. They don't look to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai for any solution. Okay, when you mention spiritual, they don't see spiritual as being strong or strong enough to have an impact in their physical life. So when you mention spiritual, they think of it as like, yeah, bro, yeah, that's like you leaving it up to chance, like I don't know about that. I'd rather something tangible, something I can hold, right? Somebody I can physically see and talk to and hear. That's what they rather. But what they fail to understand is that the spirit is stronger than the flesh. So if you trust in man, which a lot of people do, not only do they trust in other people, but they trust in themselves as if they can deliver themselves. All right, but the scriptures say, woe unto you. Because when all hell breaks loose, man ain't going to be able to deliver you, because man will not be able to deliver himself. Okay? Now, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 31. And I'm going to go straight to the point. Verse 3. Isaiah 31 and 3. It says, now the Egyptians are men and not God. And we are in the modern day Egypt dealing with these modern day pharaohs, which are these elites. Alright? But they've set it up to where people instantly in a state of chaos or disaster run towards them. Okay? They run towards them and away from the Lord, not realizing that the enemy is the one they're running towards. And it's going to come up to a day where you run towards them and realize, no, you should have been running away. When they set up these facilities and they make it seem as though it's going to be a good thing and we help people here, people will run and flock to them, and once they're in the facilities, they realize, hold on, this was a trap. But you're not going to be allowed to get out of the facility to go warn anybody else. So the people who do believe in them are just going to keep flocking in there, and then when they're in there, they realize it, but it's too late. It says, now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horses flesh and not spirit. And the kind of things that are going to be happening very soon, you're going to need divine power. You're going to need the power of God to survive them. So you trusted in Egypt, you trusted in men. Man can't deliver you from divine destruction. You need divine intervention. It says, and their horses flesh and not spirit. When the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they shall all fail together. So say you have Red Cross, FEMA, natural disaster relief, and all this, that, and the third, and they're all there at the scene trying to help you out, and then the Lord hits you with another, maybe 2 or 3 more major hurricanes. Who's going to come then? If maybe half the country gets hit with one type of calamity and another half gets hit with another, then who's helping who? All right? And these people don't understand that. This is Proverbs chapter 1, verse 27. It says, when your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. Because pursuant to 2 Ezra 9 and around the 13th verse, it says, they that despise the Lord's law, when as yet a place of repentance was open unto them, okay, they despise the Lord's law. So when everything seemed all good, all right, when everything seemed all good, you didn't want to hear the word of the Lord. You didn't want to call upon the Lord then. But when the fear comes, the desolation, the destruction, the anguish, that's when you want to call upon the Lord. Well, he says, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me, for that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. And you're not going to get a second choice. But we love knowledge, and we chose the fear of the Lord. That's why we're doing what we're doing now before the evil days come, because we know that in that time, you either need to have the Lord by then, or that's it. There's going to be some that are going to seek him and will not find him, and some that are going to seek him and he will be right there, because that's just how he set it up. So, I just wanted to bring that out, dealing with this power outage. Of course, it happened recently. It just happened. So we're going to watch and see what happens, how bad things get. Hey, it's in a time of chaos, it becomes a norm. The regular norms of society go out the window. All right, so, we'll see, which we know this is just the beginning of something much worse to come. Not just in those areas, but really worldwide. Mainly America-wide. Okay? So with that, I hope you were edified. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodesh. Until next time, Shalom.
And I have one more here from the Epic Economist, and then going to read some more and close this thing out. Most High is sending his judgments upon this place, and this is only the beginning of it. Going to see a lot more judgment.
The slow-moving Hurricane Ida has left hundreds of thousands of New Orleans residents without power due to catastrophic transmission damage. According to Entergy New Orleans, all of New Orleans is currently dark. It could take weeks for power services to be resumed. The ravaging storm took down all 8 transmission lines of the area, according to spokesman Brandon Scardilli in an emailed statement. As a result, that created a massive load imbalance that knocked all power generation in the region offline, Scardilli said. Entergy announced that it's working to assess a path forward to restore power to those who can take it, apparently meaning those who had and lost electricity for other reasons during the storm, but those repairs won't likely be completed anytime soon due to the huge power demand and the unprecedented damage faced by power lines. At this point, the only power in the city is coming from generators, Homeland Security said. In a repeat of the scene seen in the 2008 Hurricane Gustav, when 13 of the 14 Entergy's transmission lines into the city failed, leaving hundreds of thousands of homes in the dark, the disaster provoked by Hurricane Ida has left more than 614,000 Entergy customers in Louisiana without power as of Sunday evening at 7 p.m. And
they'll
by
be running to FEMA
7:26 p.m., almost 750,000 homes and businesses were without power across the state, reported PowerOutage.us. That's the company that tracks utility outages. Now, the blackouts were mainly concentrated in the southeastern corner of the state, where Ida made its devastating U.S. landfall. Entergy revealed in a statement that it was forced to shut down its 1,152-megawatt Waterford nuclear plant, about 25 miles west of New Orleans, and it will have to keep it offline until local grid damage is assessed later this week. The company warned yesterday on Twitter customers in the hardest hit areas should plan for the possibility of experiencing extended power outages. Yesterday, Hurricane Ida made landfall twice. First around noon at Port Fourchon, and then at 2 p.m. near Galliano, where it turned into a Category 4 hurricane with sustained winds of 150 miles per hour. Even though the storm weakened slightly from that point on, moving ashore with winds of 120 miles per hour, it developed a double eyeball, increasing the threat of severe flooding. As explained by Dr. Levi Cowan, Ph.D. in meteorology and senior scientist at the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. Development of a double eyewall means that the core wind field of Ida is broader. not a great development to see just before landfall. The storm has also begun to slow down, which was expected, but begins to reveal just how big a flooding threat Ida is, he tweeted. The National Hurricane Center reported that the eye of the storm was about 25 miles southwest of New Orleans and 55 miles southeast of Baton Rouge, started moving northwest last night. So far, the areas hardest hit by power outages were Jefferson and New Orleans parishes, where roughly 372,000 Entergy customers suddenly lost power before 7 p.m. due to the brutal winds that have been wreaking havoc in the area since Sunday morning. As Hurricane Ida moves inland, power outages are increasing, highlighted spokesman Clint Robbie show 1 hour earlier. Once the storm passes and it's safe for crews to assess the damage and make repairs, estimated restoration times will be provided, he said, trying to calm down thousands of distressed residents. Meanwhile, Entergy urged people not to go anywhere near the ravaged areas as hidden threats could put people's lives at risk.
But you know the storm chasers.
Do not walk in standing water. Do not venture into areas of debris, since energized and dangerous power lines may not be visible. Even before the raging hurricane hit the U.S. on Sunday, a CoreLogic report estimated that it could damage or destroy close to 1 million homes along the United States Gulf Coast and calls upwards of $220 billion in overall damage across the states of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. The property and data analytics firm warned that the dangerous storm surge could hit 941,392 properties and completely batter many of them. While residents of the New Orleans metropolitan area have started to evacuate and seek shelter, fleeing for their lives before the city was swamped by the hurricane, the levee gates closed in many areas. Hospital wards in the region were cleared out, and oil refineries and offshore production had to be shut down, according to Bloomberg. In addition to ripping through the city, the storm is expected to have a major impact on oil refineries, chemical plants, and ports. Consequently, as Sitka Pacific advisor Mike Shedlock noted, that will result in serious disruptions for oil production. Ida's projected path has made it a threat to the vast oil refining and petrochemical complex situated along the U.S. Gulf Coast. Shedlock said Ida's projected path has made it a threat to the vast oil refining and petrochemical complex situated along the U.S. Gulf Coast, though the storm's more easterly track Friday suggested it would miss the heart of those operations in Texas and along the Texas-Louisiana border, he wrote on his blog, Mish Talk.
So there you have it. The prices are going to change too. U.S. completes withdrawal of forces from Afghanistan after 20-year war. The United States completed the withdrawal of its forces from Afghanistan, the Pentagon said on Monday, after chaotic evacuation of thousands of Babylonians and Afghan allies to close out U.S. involvement there after 20 years of terror. The operation came to an end before the Tuesday deadline set by Joe Blow, who had drawn criticism both by Democrats and Republicans. Yeah, they said he was a piece of shit. And yeah, shit on shit. But even more sad though, Kabul Animal Rescue tried to save pets who wouldn't get out of Afghanistan. So like everything else, because you know America has a way of leaving theirs behind. Well, you already see how people are during a storm, right? They don't want to rescue their pets, so what makes war zones any difference?
Hey, little ones. Come on.
So, either way, though,
I know they all
get better off without the Edomites.
Hey, Mama. You're going to get some rest.
But this is, you know, just people in Kabul. This is what the U.S. left behind.
little ones. Come on.
Yeah, I remember, like in fires, most of the time the Babylonians, they won't even get their pets. And you'll see cats with the ears burned off and all kinds of shit. I saw that during the Car Fire, and you can best believe that's happening with the Dixie Fire. Afghan updates, all U.S. troops have departed, the Pentagon says. Oh, isn't that nice? So the war is over. Officials said the terror group ISIS-K carried out what the Pentagon called a complex attack. Yeah, well, their U.S. strike did some damage too, So, like everything else though, it just leads me here. Isaiah chapter 18, verse 1, it reads, "Woe to the land shadowed with buzzing wings, which is beyond the rivers of Ethiopia." Now, this time, of course, the prophets that were seeing into the future didn't know where Babylon was, the future Babylon. They thought it was the current Babylon. But, like everything else, though, now that we're in that time, talking about Babylon the Great, which sent ambassadors by the sea, even in vessels of reed on the waters, saying, "Go swift messengers to a nation tall and smooth of skin, to a people terrible from their beginning onward, a nation powerful and treading down, whose land the rivers divide." So again, that great city, Babylon the Great, because she has spoiled many nations. All the inhabitants of the world and dwellers on the earth, when he lifts up a banner on the mountains, you see it. And when he blows a trumpet, you hear it. You don't hear that trumpet blown? You don't see everything that's happening here? "For so the Most High said to me, I will take my rest, and I will look from my dwelling place, like clear heat and sunshine, like a cloud of dew in the heat of harvest. For before the harvest, when the bud is perfect, and the sour grape is ripening in the flower, he will both cut off the sprigs with pruning hooks, and take away and cut down the branches." So only a remnant's going to be spared from this destruction. You take out the best, and you pretty much reap the rest. That's what you do. "They will be left together for the mountains birds of prey," because it often refers to the owl, the owls and every unclean and hateful bird. "And for the beasts of the earth, the birds of prey will summer on them, and all the beasts of the earth will winter on them. In that time a present will be brought to the Lord of hosts, from a people tall and smooth of skin, and from a people terrible from their beginning onward, a nation powerful and treading down, whose land the rivers divide, to a place of the name of the Lord of hosts, to Mount Zion." So everybody's going to know it when the Most High judges this place. So like everything else, though, we're going to keep on hastening to come in the day of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Hope all this has been edifying, and it's on to the next one. Shalom. Look for the longer length on BitChute. There's a lot of stuff I cannot put here on YouTube. Shalom.